Jaco the Clown lives in a delusional world. Each Tuesday, also known as Jaco Tuesday, he is released from the safety of the Acme Mental Hospital in order to host his own podcast show, See My Mind. Welcome to the show.
Greetings, dear viewers, and welcome to See My Mind, the greatest podcast in the world. I'm your host, Jaco. Well, since last week's show, I've received thousands of requests from people wanting me to take them up for a ride in my balloon. Let me clear something up for everyone. I no longer own a balloon. In fact, my former balloon is now in the Smithsonian.
Excuse me, Jaco. You have a call from the Department of Motor Vehicles on line 1.
The Department of Motor Vehicles? What on earth do they want with me? Fine, patch them through, Bobby.
Here you go.
To whom am I speaking?
This is Trevor from the Department of Motor Vehicles Bureau. After your show last week, we searched our records and couldn't find any paid registration for your balloon. So, unfortunately, you owe the DMV $3,700 for unpaid vehicle registration and late fees. I can take a credit card payment over the phone right now if you'd like.
Trevor, did you say? Well, Trevor, the only thing I'm inclined to do with my credit card is to stick it up your nose sideways. If you could just take a step a little closer.
Well, calm down, Jaco. This is your attorney, Saul. I demand you retract that last statement.
You demand that I retract it? Well, Saul, I demand that you're fired.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Jaco, you can't fire your attorney.
Well then, Snedley, you're fired.
Engineer Bobby, let's move to the hypnosis segment right now.
You got it, Dr. Snedley.
Jaco, take a deep breath. We're going back in time now. Get comfortable and close your eyes, and when you hear the snap of my fingers, you'll be deep asleep but still able to hear my voice. And... Now, Jaco, I want to take you back to your days as a professional bowler.
I was more than a professional bowler. I actually made a small fortune as a bowling hustler. A shark, if you will.
So you didn't compete in bowling tournaments?
Oh, I was on the circuit for a while, mostly for the perks and the on-air FaceTime. But the real money was in the after-hours side hustle games.
Were those games legal?
I suppose it all depends on who you ask. My games were all arranged for me by my stake horse, so I never got into the legalities. I'd receive calls from him and it was always something like 2 a.m., Huntington Ball, 20 large, lane 12, ask for Zeke. And then he'd hang up, I never even spoke a word.
$20,000 is a lot of money. Did you ever lose a big bet like that?
I've played many games for well over $100,000, Dr. Snedley. Occasionally, the payouts would reach over $1 million after all the double or nothing nonsense, So to answer your question, no, I never lost. Not even once. The games weren't always for cash, I once played for a bungalow in Trinidad. Sometimes We'd even play for vital organs.
What?
Not our own, but if one of the league members was in need of a transplant, we'd play to see who paid for the surgery.
That's amazing, Jaco.
Yes, it was.
All bowlers have an average, Jaco. What was your bowling average?
Throughout my career, I maintained a 299.9 average. There was that one time back in the 60s when I had to make a damn spare. Somebody spilled an order of nachos and cheese on me as I was releasing the ball. So annoying. Since then, I earned the nickname X, since I never missed a strike. It was automatic. I kept having to hustle further and further from home where nobody ever heard of me. By the end of my career, I was hustling matches in Madagascar and Antarctica, and they were requiring me to bowl blindfolded.
Did you use any special equipment?
Well, I carved my own bowling balls from dead tree stumps and filled the centers with NASA-approved plutonium. I also used wrist braces on both hands that I lined with uranium oxide, which, acted as a propulsion device to interact with the plutonium. I bowled equally well with either hand. Even when blindfolded, nobody was the wiser.
Plutonium? Wasn't that dangerous, Jaco?
Looking back, perhaps. But I'm retired now. I buried all my bowling balls in the hills of South Dakota many years ago.
Well, that's just an amazing story, Jaco. Well, thank you for sharing it with me once again today. You created such a beautiful painting of your days as a professional bowler, and I know you want to see it, so let's bring you back now. Okay, look deep into my eyes, and when I snap my fingers, you'll be on stage in your unveiling theater. And...
Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening, everyone. Well, I'll never forget my days as a bowling hustler, rolling strike after strike. And now it's time for me to pull the cord to reveal my masterpiece painting entitled The Bowler.
And so it was. Please stay tuned for next week's episode of See My Mind, entitled The Triangle Player, starring Jaco the Clown.